Hello, my dear friends. Nice to see you again. Today, I continue to bring you another extremely interesting story. Are you ready? Let's start exploring this story. Please, let me stay as your wife. It was a calm Friday morning when Ava, my wife, said something that left me stunned. She informed me, with a composed yet unsettling tone, that she planned to go out after work that evening and might not return until the next day. Her voice carried a rehearsed certainty, and her expression suggested she had carefully deliberated over her words. Ava assured me of her love, but her darting eyes betrayed her spoken commitment. This was the first time I had encountered the specter of marital infidelity, a subject I had only seen in movies, read about in novels, or overheard in conversations. I stood frozen as she laid out her reasoning. Ava claimed I was strong enough to accept it. Life, she said, was fleeting, and she hadn't had the chance to fully experience it before we married. According to her, monogamy was an artificial construct of society, one that she was no longer willing to uphold. She promised to prioritize my needs if I allowed her this freedom. Every pause in her speech seemed to embolden her. She cited her autonomy, her right to explore life, and the notion that her desires were harmless and purely physical. Let me make one thing clear. I am neither insecure nor lacking in confidence. I am accomplished, healthy, and financially secure. Ava had never expressed dissatisfaction with our life together. Yet, as she finished her declaration, anger surged within me. Instead of giving in to rage or despair, I turned to the wisdom of literature. Stories like those of Herman Melville that caution against the destructive power of anger and obsession. So, when Ava leaned in for a kiss goodbye, I quietly said, "I'd rather not." Her reaction was immediate and visceral. She recoiled in shock, her confidence shaken. Ava accused me of being immature, of not respecting her choices. "You have to accept this, or you'll lose me," she declared. But I remained calm. My refusal was unyielding. "I'd rather not." The effect of those 4 words was striking. Ava's previously unwavering resolve began to falter. Her confidence showed cracks, and for the first time, hesitation flickered across her face. She tried to negotiate, promising she wouldn't stay out all night during her first date. Despite her words, my response remained resolute. "I'd rather not." Each repetition of the phrase seemed to carry more weight, grounding me and shaking her resolve further. Desperation led her to adopt a lawyerly tone, reminiscent of her earlier dreams of becoming an attorney. Ava reminded me of the prenuptial agreement we had signed before our marriage, a document she had once treated with utmost seriousness. She now threatened me, claiming she would take my home, finances, and trust fund if I sought a divorce. She even declared she'd live in my house, do as she pleased, and make me fund her lifestyle. Still, my response was unwavering. "I'd rather not." That night, Ava didn't come home. By Saturday afternoon, her absence stretched into the evening, and then into Sunday. I used the time to reconnect with myself. By Sunday night, she returned, disheveled and broken, as though she had fought through a storm. Her hair was unkempt, her clothes rumpled, and her eyes filled with despair and panic. She dropped her bag to the floor and looked at me, seeking something she could no longer demand. Next to the grill on the terrace, where I was tending ribs, the aroma of the sizzling meat mingled with the tension hanging in the air. I didn't look at her. Silence felt more powerful than 1,000 words. "I guess you don't want to kiss me right now," she muttered, more to herself than to me. I focused on the grill, brushing marinade over the ribs, flipping the corn. Cooking gave me something tangible to concentrate on, a small anchor in the chaos. "Would you mind grilling one for me?" she asked, her voice soft and laced with desperation. "I'd rather not," I replied without looking up. She sighed in frustration. "Of course. I should have known." Her anger surfaced. Can you say something other than "I'd rather not"? It's a cliché. I turned, ready to respond, but she cut me off. No, stop. I'm tired. Well, you're doing nothing, aren't you? That's the punishment, right? Her voice trembled, and I could hear the bitterness creeping in. We need to talk. You can't just stay silent. Either say something or let it go. Do you really want a divorce? She paused, her words shaky, her pain visible. We've been together for 7 years. 2 years at university, 3 more while I was in law school, and now 2 years married. Are you really going to throw all of that away because of 2 weekends? Her emotions spilled over as she continued. I need this. I've been fighting these feelings for years. I thought I could bury them when we got married, but I couldn't. I love you. I always have, but I can't stop wondering about what it's like with someone else. How they'd see me. What it feels like to be desired in a different way. Tears streamed down her face. I wanted to be the heroine of a love story. The girl swept away by a rugged cowboy or rescued by the charming stranger. I know it's selfish, but I can't help it. You've been nothing but incredible, and I don't deserve you. I'm sorry. So sorry. Please, don't just stand there. Say something. I finished plating the steak, adding toasted bread, sprinkling corn kernels on top, and placing a slice of grilled peach for garnish. I turned to her and spoke softly. I'd rather not. Her face crumbled. Don't say that. Don't be so cold, she cried. Yell at me, scold me, do something. Just don't ignore me. I know I was wrong, and I'll do anything to make it up to you. Please forgive me and take me back. I don't want to, I replied, firm yet calm. The days that followed were strained. She tried to reach me, to spark a conversation, to draw me into an argument, but my responses were always the same. Every request, every plea, met with the same polite refusal. I don't want to. At first, she didn't give up. She tried everything, gestures, conversations, even acts of contrition. But I remained distant, often leaving for business trips, throwing myself into work, and avoiding her presence. We began living separate lives, separate rooms, separate schedules. Eventually, she stopped trying. She packed her things and left, moving to a place of her own. We never formally divorced, but we drifted apart, our shared life quietly dissolving. For a moment, I thought about ending it all, putting a definitive close to our story. But in the end, I simply told myself, I'd rather not. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's story. For more inspiring stories, please subscribe to our channel. Your support is our great motivation. Goodbye and see you again in the next stories.